Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Chris and Andre Show.
Who sucks more, the U.S. men's soccer program or NC State's men's basketball program?
Wow.
That's a tough one, isn't it?
Are we talking U17 or no? I'm trying to get it out. I think that.
And to be clear, I didn't do this because I just wanted to bash the U.S. men's soccer program.
Yeah, because I can't do that. I think that they have had. I think their challenge, and I'm going to defend the U.S. men's soccer team because.
Perfect. That's where I figured you'd be.
Yeah, because the thing with the U.S. men's team, in my point of view, is they've always struggled with international play. And where they fall apart is when they play South American teams. Central American teams, right. They can control the pitch.
Yeah, they're not too bad. But as soon as they start playing Brazil, Argentina, Chile,
even Peru. Yeah, and I'm like, Colombia, and it's like, wow, I don't know if that's going to be a thing. They do. I think they play marketably well with European teams because most of the players now have like European contracts. So,
right. So they're playing over there, and they're more familiar with those guys' styles. And you do have some of the players from South America that go up to Europe as well, but not as many.
Right.
So you don't get as much experience with that. And the style of play in Europe is completely different from the way that they play in South America.
And South America, in my opinion, has been like one of the eliminators for us in the Olympics and World Cup. So
then it sounds like, I mean, this is similar to our conversation we've had about NC State men's basketball before, where it's like, what do you target as your goal? Are you trying to beat the European teams, right, where you've already kind of established, like, hey, we can do that sometimes? Or is it, no, we've got to figure out how we beat the South American teams, because if we can't even get past a South American team, it may not matter if we can beat a European team, right?
That's exactly it, and that's my philosophy. And I think that, for example, the NC State baseball team, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Their pitching lineup is bananas. Their women's soccer team, phenomenal. Their football team is, in all seriousness, very competitive, and I think they have the makeup to be a very strong team. I think
the women's basketball
team,
has been phenomenal for the last several years. Like, Westmore is just absolutely crushing it.
Yeah. So, and I would say that most of their athletic program, and the only blotch they have is the men's basketball team, because they've decided to not be consistent. They've decided to focus on how do I compete against Carolina and Duke, and Carolina and Duke aren't their problems. And I watched the Carolina game. Duke wasn't their problem. It was a crappy lineup. Well, not crappy. There was injuries. There was a lot of things that went off. I wouldn't even blame the coach. I would just say that you have to be focused on, like, the great coaches like Coach K, for example.
Coach Keats, you mean?
Yeah. Those guys finished strong against, like, Kentucky's, Kansas, UNLV, even USC, consistently.
The more consistent, blue blood basketball programs, Kansas, Michigan State, even like Ohio State, right? The Big Ten. It was crazy this year because I don't think I watched the ACC Big Ten Challenge.
Are you going to validate another one of my points? Like, is this going to be a two?
No, maybe.
This is going to be a twofer.
I was going to say you might get a twofer out of this, but. The SEC played it was the SEC Big 12, I think.
Right?
Because it was like Kansas versus I don't even remember, but it was really interesting. Like, I seemed like much better basketball than what I've seen. I mean, the ACC seems to be on its ass this year overall. You have Duke, who's obviously like leading the way, but they're basically the only like super good team in the league this year. It feels like everybody else is a significant step down from them, and then you have like the bottom rung where NC State's been hanging out. And granted, like, I think State would be having a better year if we hadn't lost Manny Bates. Like, what is it? Boo Corrigan, the athletic director, was on one of the local radio shows in Raleigh that I get down here, the Adam Gold show. Mm-hmm. And he was asking him, about the basketball team and stuff like that. And Boo's like, well, we've got this guy's out, this guy's out, this guy's out, and this guy's out. That's almost a combined 28 feet of basketball players that we're missing because it's all of our front court guys.
Right.
It's like Manny Bates, the leading blocker in the ACC, and then the three guys who were essentially going to help him out, all of them have gotten injured and been missing significant time. And so I get it that they're playing with essentially a skeleton crew. I think people are being a little unrealistic in terms of what you can expect from that team, but at the same time, this is Kevin Keatts' 5th year. He has had the investigation, right? The NCAA investigation over the whole Adidas thing.
I think his problem is how he recruits. Like, I don't think NC State has got a strong recruitment plan, and they go for people that aren't committed to a school that perform well, and I think that is their problem. They've got to get.
Well, not only that, but he loves picking up guys that are never going to come to school here.
Oh,
he's had 3 commits from guys that jumped straight to the NBA, or went to the NBA G League or something like that because they were that good, which is great. Like, in a sense, it's cool because it seems like it builds up the notoriety. People are like, oh, NC State, but if the kid never actually shows up and plays, and for all of the hard work and money spent to acquire Dennis Smith Jr., that was the worst basketball season in Mark Gottfried's tenure here. It was awful. It was the beginning of the end. And that was in part because I think he spent so much time trying to get Dennis Smith Jr., he completely forgot to recruit everybody else. And that's where I think NC State football has figured out their niche when it comes to recruiting, right? They find the 2- and 3-star guys where they look at it and they go, I'm not looking at what I'm seeing now, but I'm seeing what do I see in 3 years with our weight and strength and conditioning program.
Yeah, we can get into a spot.
Is the frame there that we can build on top of that? And they're great at taking guys that are playing different positions in high school and saying, all right, we're moving you up to that next level here. So if you were a safety in high school, they bulk you up and they move you to linebacker. If you were a linebacker, they bulk you up, they move you to defensive end. And so I love the way that Dave's gone about building that program. I call him Dave because we're on a first-name basis. What's up, Dave? But yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Kevin Keatts needs to identify what his recruitment plan is. I think early on he thought he could run very much the same system that he did at UNCW, which is a 4 guards and a 1 big. I don't think that you can consistently do that in the ACC.
It was shutting down Duke in the horrendous game when they went to a 3-2 zone. Mm-hmm. And I was literally in my room watching this game because I started watching in my living room. I'm like, all right, we're down 22 points. That's not even a thing, yo. So I grab a beer and I go upstairs. And I'm like, all right, please, what? Why are we playing man to man? They are zipping you. They are literally zipping you the whole time.
And isn't that, as a fan, one of the most frustrating things to sit there and watch it on TV or, watch it live and feel like you have the answer, but the coach is doing nothing? And I'm not, that's nothing against Hubert Davis because I think that game was a little out of hand early.
Coach Davis made a point. He said, you guys have got to make plays. And that's when they came from the half and they started to try to make some plays, they were just too far gone. And I think it goes back to the USMNT team. When they made roster changes, when they started to, not just promote people from U7, like Christian Pulsnick, that kid is amazing. I know he gets a lot of heat. I know he's had some injuries. I was watching an interview with Altador or reading it, and it's the same thing. There is so much talent that we have, but we don't utilize them in a way that's competitive outside of this country as far as international play. And Altador wasn't he wasn't a speed guy. He was a precision, guy you just couldn't get around and just let him play. Trying to play force your forwards in soccer, the way they were, the team was running in the U.S. before was ridiculous. It just didn't make any sense because you'll get a 2 trap. I'm sorry, I'm not going to go into in my mind, I'm saying if you watch South American soccer, they'll close on you, they'll trap you super quick, and there's always an out. right? So you'll have possession of the ball, and you'll get 2 defenders on you, and they cut out your kicking lane just like that. But they have a way to get the ball and to get it to a free player every time, 9 times out of 10. And that's what I think that, with the Americans right now, getting the experience, overseas, getting the experience like playing and watching different setups, not going with the stupid line, not stupid, the immature, like plain, boring lineups to play with people that didn't play that way, especially Colombia or Brazil, not having legs, not doing the right substitutions. That's what makes your team struggle. So I will say that I think NC State sucks more because they have a bigger hill to climb, right? It's a whole mentality change. I would say that the U.S. men's team was there like 2 World Cups ago, where
yeah, you're right. I mean, granted, 2 World Cups ago was over 8 years ago, but you're not wrong. I hear what you're saying. Like because the World Cup only comes around every 4 years, like they've had a better shot at it than probably the NC State basketball team. I mean, I'm probably going to have to agree. I do think that overall the NC State basketball team probably sucks more than the U.S. men's team. But I think they both suffer from a lot of the same stuff, which is consistency. It's like you need to be able to play consistently at a high level if you're going to compete in those leagues.
Well, the difference with the two clubs is that the men's team, depending on how they set up practice, like they may not play together as much as a college team, right?
Sure.
And I think that's a fault of how the U.S. builds its team like for the next like 10 years. So if you go to like Brazil or Peru or any other country outside the States, I mean, you don't just have a U17 team. You have like preteens that are gearing up to, like, they're going to probably play with 40% of the same people until they're like, go to the pros. We haven't figured that out yet. I thought the MLS was going to bring some of that to us. It hasn't. And we still only bring our top talent out for international matches, and that's a problem.
Yeah.
So, but all in all, I think, and this is not to knock NC State. My daughter actually got me a NC State coffee mug. It says NC State Dad. And it's like, it's in the cabinet, and I have to use it. Yeah. It's going to hurt me to use it because, as we can all see, that it's going to be hard to use.
Just make sure you send me a picture. So I can post it on the social medias.
Next.